Hey, second graders, how are you doing? Welcome to Tuesday. I hope you've had a great day. It is absolutely beautiful outside, and I hope hopefully you've had a chance to get outside and enjoy some of the sunshine. Tomorrow it's supposed to be a little bit cloudy with maybe a chance of rain, but after that the week looks absolutely beautiful, so be ready for that. Also, if you haven't noticed, this week for math, we will be going over money. And yesterday, your assignment was just based on identifying the coin and the value, how much it's worth. And I just want to remind you that we did this in Focus Wall for Money Monday. Every Monday, we would go over our how much money was in our piggy bank, and then also each song. And so this week, I just want you to see if you can remember those 4 different songs we had. We had penny, penny, easily spent, copper, brown, and worth 1 cent. Then nickel, nickel, thick and fat, you're worth 5 cents, I know that. Dime, dime, little and thin, I remember you're worth 10. And then our last one. Quarter, quarter, big and bold, you're worth 25, I am told. So this week when you're working on these assignments, see if you can remember the values and also the little rhymes to help us remember what each coin is worth. So hopefully that'll help you. All right, today's Tuesday, so I get to share with you where Penelope Peabody is. Here is the clue I gave you on Friday. I'm in one of the New England states, but I'm not sure which one. This state is huge, and it's nearly as large as the other 5 New England states combined. I'm somewhere near the capital city, Augusta. The state is known for its thick forests and beautiful rocky seashore. There are many excellent seafood restaurants that serve lobster fresh from the Atlantic Ocean. I'm lost. Can you help me? What state am I in? All right, she's lost again, and Penelope is in Maine. Maine is where she is, right up here. So we live, again, in Washington all the way over here. So you would have to go all the way to the East Coast. And you can see Maine is at the very top. And you can see this is all surrounded by water. So there's a lot of good lobsters up here. And this is what you would call a peninsula. So if it's an island, it's surrounded all sides by water, but a peninsula is surrounded by water on just 3 sides instead of 4. So you can see Maine would be a peninsula. Same with Florida. Would also be considered a peninsula. Hawaii down here, though, this would be considered an island. So kind of a difference. But that was our clue. Here's your new one. See if you can figure this one out. The state I'm in now sure has a lot of history. It was one of the original 13 colonies, and the Declaration of Independence was signed here. Last night I was driving through the city and ran my car into the Liberty Bell. I think I cracked it. I'm going to head out of the Keystone State right now before I get in any more trouble. I am really lost this time. What state am I in? All right, so this has a lot of great clues you could be looking up. You could be looking up where the Declaration of Independence was signed, or where the Liberty Bell is, or the Keystone State. Those are all different things you could be looking up. All right, so I will tell you the answer to that clue on Friday. But before I get too far ahead of myself, the students that got Maine correct, I have these students here. Weston, Bennett, Emerson, Lucas, Marley, Adelaide, and my mom. All right, those people all got the correct clue. Let's see if you can get this one right this week. You've got a couple days to figure that one out. So the last couple days, Friday, I read to you guys Rosie Revere, Engineer. Yesterday, I read to you guys Iggy Peck, Architect. And today I'm going to read another one of her books. And I love this one, too. This one is called Atta, Scientist. And again, I don't have the cover for this one either. Those covers are kind of hard to keep on the books in the classroom when we're reading them so much. I'm going to turn this a little bit so you guys can see. How's that? All right. Atta, Scientist. Here we go. Atta Marie said not a word till the day she turned 3. She bounced in her crib and looked all around, observing the world, but not making a sound. She learned how to climb and made her big break, with a trail of chaos left in her wake. She ran through the day chasing each sound and sight and didn't slow down till she conked out at night. Her parents were frazzled but tried not to freak as Atta grew bigger and still did not speak. Clearly young Atta, with lots in her head, would have something to say when it ought to be said. That's just what happened when Atta turned 3. She tore through the house on a fact-finding spree and climbed up the clock just as high as she could. Her parents yelled, "Stop!" as all good parents would. Atta's chin quivered, but she did not cry. She took a deep breath and she simply asked, "Why? Why does it tick and why does it talk? Why don't we call it a granddaughter clock? Why are there pointy things stuck to a rose? Why are there hairs up inside of our nose?" She started with why and then what, how and when. By the bedtime she came back to why once again. She drifted to sleep as her dazed parents smiled at the curious thoughts of their curious child, who wanted to know what the world was about. They kissed her and whispered, "You'll figure it out." Her parents kept up with her high-flying kid, whose questions and chaos both grew as she did. Even Miss Greer found her hands were quite full when young Atta's chaos wreaked havoc at school. But this was much clear about Miss Atta Twist. She had all the traits of a great scientist. Look at Miss Greer in the corner. I don't think she was ready for Atta's her science project. And you can see, let's see, I see Rosie right there, and then check out, here's that Iggy Peck is right there too. Atta was busy that first day of spring, testing the sounds that make mockingbirds sing, when a horrible stench whacked her right in the nose, a pungent aroma that curled up her toes. "Zowie!" said Atta, which got her to thinking. What is the source of that terrible stinking? How does a nose know there's something to smell? And does it still stink if there's no nose to tell? She rattled off questions. And tapped on her chin. She'd start at the start where she ought to begin. A mystery, a riddle, a puzzle, a quest. This was the moment that Atta loved best. All right, so something she smells stinks. Atta did research to learn all she could of smelling and smells, both the stinky and good. One hypothesis Atta thought could be true. The terrible stink came from Dad's cabbage stew. She tested and tested, but soon Atta knew it was time to come up with hypothesis 2. Which hypothesis means a good guess of what she thinks the smell comes. So hypothesis 1 was that the smell came from her dad's stew, but after she did all of her experiments, she found out that wasn't where the smell was coming from. Then zowie! That stink struck again, just like that. Hypothesis 2, it's caused by the cat. The cat couldn't make such a stink on its own. It needed perfume and some fancy cologne. So young Atta tested. The test was a flop. She started again, but her parents yelled, "Stop!" Check out what her next experiment was going to be. Good thing her parents were paying attention. Atta Marie, to the thinking chair now by the time we count 3. Enough, said her mother. That's it, said her dad. Her parents were frustrated, frazzled, and mad. Why? Atta questioned. Her mother said no. What? Atta queried. Her father said go. You've ruined our supper. You've made the cat stink. Enough with your questions. Now sit there and think. She looked at her parents. Her heart turned to goo. Poor Atta Twist didn't know what to do. She sat all alone by herself in the hall, and Atta once more could say nothing at all. And so Atta sat And she sat and she sat, and she thought about science and Stu and the cat, and how her experiments made such a big mess. Does it have to be so? Is that part of success? Are messes a problem? And while she was thinking, what was the source of that terrible stinking? Atta Marie did what scientists do. She asked a small question, and then she asked two. And each of those led her to 3 questions more, and some of those questions resulted in 4. As Atta got thinking, she really dug in. She scribbled her questions and tapped on her chin. She started at why, and then what, how, and when. At the end of the hall, she reached why once again. Oh my gosh. Her parents calmed down and they came back to talk. They looked at the hallway and just had to gawk. No patch of bare paint could be seen on the wall. The thinking chair now was the great thinking hall. They watched their young daughter and they sighed as they did. What would they do with this curious kid who wanted to know what the world was about? They just smiled and whispered, "Oh, you'll figure it out." Wow. Oh my goodness. That is a lot of questions. And that's what they did. Because that's what you do when your kid has a passion and a heart that is true. They remade their worlds, and now they're all in the act of helping young Atta sort fiction from fact. She asks lots of questions. How could she resist? It's all in the heart of a young scientist. And as for that smell, what can Atta Twist do but learn all she can with her friends in grade 2? Will they discover the stink that curls toes? Well, that is the question, and someday, who knows? You guys recognize anybody? We got Rosie here, and then, is that Iggy? I don't know if that's him or not. Oh no, Iggy's right here. The end. All right, so what do you guys think that terrible smell is that Atta Twist has been smelling? It's kind of hard for you guys to do because usually when I read this book, I would let you guys look at this book and see if you could figure it out because it is in here. The correct answer of what stinks is in the book. But maybe if you paid really close attention to the pictures, you might be able to see what stinks. If you have a guess, you can send me a message. But I love that book too. They're all really great. And I love too that it's just all about asking questions. And we know that questions can help us lead to learning more. And so that's what Atta Twist does. So that's awesome. All right, guys, I hope you have a great night. And I will see you tomorrow on Wednesday. Bye.